of this challenge. Um, I think I have about 15 bowls thrown, trimmed to that point. I have to take a real count tonight or tomorrow morning before I come back in again. And um, I have 3 more bowls that I have to trim tonight. And then I have 3 bats that I can use for 6-pound bowls, so I want to get those thrown. Then my husband asked if I would paint 2 pigs that he's been working on for a while now, so that they can get in the kiln. I'm kind of planning to do that tonight, but he's going to be gone for 2 days, so if it doesn't get done tonight, it'll definitely get done tomorrow. Either way, the kiln will be run by the time he gets back. I did a tiny bit of work off camera. I just moved bowls around so that they were kind of out of my way. So I have more room right here. I am I'm gonna get into it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna jump back into Discord again and see if anybody wants to join me. If they do, awesome. If they don't, awesome. Um, yeah. All right. So, I am going to be away the week of June 15th. So everything needs to be thrown and trimmed by that point. I'm trying to do um, a bunch of, I don't want any 2 bowls to be exactly the same. I'm trying really hard to make sure that everything is just a little bit different. Um, whether it's which way the swirl goes, height, width, the color. So once I get things out of the kiln, I'll kind of line stuff up and make sure I'm not doing 2 of like the same looking bowl with the same color. Because I want these bowls to be something that people kind of look at and go, that's me. Um, so I'm looking forward to meeting people and having them touch and feel and lift and say, oh no, this one's too heavy for me, or oh, I have an asshole cat. This is perfect. He can't chuck this off the table. Um, or I only work with cotton. I only work with tiny skeins. So I like this small one. Or oh, I deal with big chunky baby yarn. Um, yeah. So that's kind of I'm trying to make something for everyone. And I just put that right into my water bowl for throwing with. Just right in there. Yep, cool, cool. That's how the after dinner show is going to go. I do want to do a couple that are straight sided, like a cylinder. Um, I've never made a yarn bowl like that before, and that's different. So we're going to try that. We're probably going to try that tonight. Tomorrow, my husband is heading off to Cleveland with a friend to go pick up the first batch of ornaments for the year. And when they get home, um, my parents are like, sure, we'll take like 3 weeks and go through these and start sorting them. So that was awesome. Um, um, Polarex has a lot of really good new ornaments this year, and we got a ton of them. A lot of them are still on pre-order, unfortunately. So anything that wasn't on pre-order is what they are picking up. And I'm a little jealous because they're going to a really cool brewery called Hansa's out in Ohio City in Cleveland. Um, so I'm a little jealous that they get to go there, but hopefully they will bring me something back. We'll see. We'll see if they're just cursing me out by that point and like, I can't believe she sent me to Cleveland to get these ornaments. That's not really how my husband is, but we'll see. I've got that funky music that I play in the background stuck in my head. You can see that this stuff is still really, really wet. And um, I don't trim it much because um, I don't trim it much um, because I want a heavier bowl, but also because I don't want it collapsing on me. But it needs to be super wet because I need to cut out the swirly for the yarn. Hello.
Hello.
There's Gary now.
Why were you thinking about me?
I was talking about you. I was saying if you still love me after sending you all the way to Cleveland to pick up ornaments, maybe you'll bring me home some Hans's.
Bring you home some Hansas?
Only if you still love me after sending you all the way to Cleveland.
I've honestly considered possibly not going there.
Oh, not going to Hans's?
Maybe.
Okay.
I don't know, maybe. It seems silly to not go there, but more likely than not, I should probably go.
You'll enjoy yourself.
Yeah. It's also just a really long drive,
It is a really long drive.
and that adds on extra time on top of
Yeah,
my extra time.
it does.
I'm not 100%. Most likely I will, just because, I mean, I'm that close. Silly or not. Trying to figure out what I want to put my clothes in. Maybe just an IKEA bag. My goodie bag. And I just need my uh, CPAP machine.
hmm
Get it tomorrow.
Do you have water in the van?
No, I don't think so. That's not a bad idea. There might be. I'm not sure.
Okay. Yeah, you just might want to, grab the pack out of the car.
Yeah, it's true. All right. So Jay said that he could use the extra time tonight to get stuff done. So no pressure for ending early. And I got a thumbs up from Aaron. So, and I guess it just depends on where they're at. I mean, I have nothing else now. I'm all packed. The only thing is, I do have to get up at like 6, so that my CPAP has time to decompress so that I can pack it.
hmm
And, um, and then I could be on the road by 7 at the
Yeah,
latest.
and at, 8:45, if they're about to enter into a combat, it's pretty simple to say, okay, guys, we'll pick up here next week with combat, with
Yeah,
rolling initiative.
true. It's true.
Yeah, it
Although
doesn't
it
have to be
depends,
exactly 9 o'clock.
yeah, exactly. Though it depends, the AD&D combat can be quick.
It all depends on what they do.
Yeah.
All right,
So,
another 4-pound bowl trimmed.
nice.
I
Right.
am just trucking right along. I'm a little nervous that I'm behind schedule, but like I don't actually know that I'm behind schedule, so I might not
Yeah.
actually be behind schedule.
Yeah. Well, the other, I'm sorry. The other piece of what I've been thinking is that I should be doing the litter boxes so that we don't have like stinky room to sit in all day Saturday. But
Okay.
I just don't know. Like, I definitely don't have time tonight. Maybe Friday when I get home. Maybe. I have the next two YouTube videos set to go up tomorrow and Friday at noon.
Nice.
So,
Awesome.
oh,
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, I didn't actually hear who that was.
Kai. Hello,
Ah,
Kai is here.
hello. Let me turn up her mic. Okay. I'm just throwing online right now.
Guys, on this terribly hot day.
It is terribly hot. It's hot down here too.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
You're
I,
definitely using Fahrenheit today. I knew that.
I am doing a 100 yarn bowl in 30-day challenge.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured while I go live, I'll just put myself on here, and if anybody wants to join me while I'm live, they can come hang out.
I see. Yeah, I noticed that it showed up on my feed.
Yeah, because I run out of things to talk about, and I just repeat myself a lot.
I see.
There.
I'm getting ready to run Advanced Dungeons and Dragons. 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had Adam on here yesterday, and we were discussing meow, and we were discussing.
Simon.
I don't know if that was ours or Kai's.
Simon.
It's yours.
We were discussing backstory and whatnot, and Demir, and so we came up with a very interesting current job for him
Okay.
that involves you guys. So I'm excited for that. We'll see how that plays out.
Well, I'm glad to know he has a purpose for being within the group,
Yeah.
because I was a little unsure about that when he first showed up.
Yep. Yeah, well, we'll see. We're going to see how he handles it in character.
Because all I could think was, why would the party let him hang about?
Well, and that's it, right? So we're going to see if he brings it up in character or if he just latches on and um just follows you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens with that.
Essentially be a tag along till he proves his worth.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll see. We'll see what he does. He could just out it like immediately, just like he did with the Demir, because that was unexpected.
I also don't think he fully understood what the Demir do.
Nope, not at all.
Yep.
So we had a pretty extensive conversation about that, and so yeah, so now I'm curious to see what he does with it.
I see.
But and instead of making a staff of swarming insects, he now um wants to make an item. Oh shoot, Gary, what does it do?
Oh, it steals shadows.
Still right.
Alright, and what is the effect of a stolen shadow?
I'm thinking necrotic damage, and he can use their shadows as like unseen servants.
So
Um,
non-combatant
yeah,
sort of thing? Yeah, what's the long-term effects on someone who loses their shadow but does not get killed?
continual necrotic damage until they get it back.
Hmm.
I'm
I
not thinking
see.
much. I'm thinking like a point a day, just to and like you don't get it back. Like you'll eventually die without your shadow.
I see.
we'll see what happens. But yeah, so he's going to be making that staff now instead.
I feel like he's gonna have a staff to seal shadows. He should have to interact with the Fae somewhat, considering there is real life lore of Fae stealing shadows and
Hmm.
causing issues for people with that.
Yeah, so you guys are, maybe going to the Feywild. We're gonna we're gonna see what you guys do with Auntie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was explaining to Adam about like when you asked me how to get to Auntie's house, and I'm like, I don't fucking know. Here we go. And I just started rambling.
I feel like I recalled it fairly well afterwards.
You really did. I was impressed. Yeah, so I'm very curious to see what you guys do with that.
I'm curious to see what we're gonna have to sacrifice to get the help of a hag. Because although yet to be confirmed, I am like 90% sure this is a hag.
Yeah. Yep. 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 I piqued Adam's interest with hags a long time ago, and I promised him that there would be a hag in the campaign at some point. And he was convinced that Mother Gwenna was a hag in Lockwood who made all of the potions and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
He was 100% convinced she was a hag.
I see.
And in this reiteration, I was thinking about bringing her in as a hag, but then everybody left Lockwood, and I'm like, meh, not this time.
Hmm.
Maybe in the future.
I see.
I had given you a suggestion, and I don't know. Probably this is an okay time to see, but everybody in the party is like super, um, like into Ravnica,
Hmm.
and if we get away from Magellan, if like maybe Ravnica ends up being more important.
So I was kind of talking to Theo about that, Theo, Matt, whatever, earlier today. And I told him that I wanted to get you guys back to Ravnica at some point. Um, and that may
I
come
gotta
in
I gotta
when.
hop off. Have fun.
Okay, have fun. Enjoy your game.
Yep. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. That may happen when Adam's thing comes into play a little bit more. Um, but I don't know. I don't know if he is going to spill the beans about what his job is like at the beginning of next session, or if he's going to tag along until it comes to a head and then bring it up.
Or if he's gonna lie to us for the reason he wants to be a part of the group and hold his actual intention secret as a Demir would likely do.
Yeah, that's not how Adam plays his characters, though. I cannot see him lying to the group ever,
Why not? It's
ever.
easy. And you don't even necessarily have to fully lie, you just have to not give the full truth.
Right. Well, and that's why when he asked me, like, he's like, "Wait, why do I have to tell Benjamin any of this?" I'm like, "You don't. You don't know this person from Adam. You have no idea who this guy is." Like,
Mm-hmm.
if you want to know who he is, I want a history check.
Well, considering what I've known about him previously, I feel like this might be the first time he's attempting to go, even if neutral, leaning more towards evil than good,
Uh-huh.
because his neutrals previously were still relatively leaning towards good in most scenarios.
Yep.
So I kind of feel like he's uh, leaning more towards the other side with this one. I don't know his current alignment, and it's none of my business what it actually is.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's neutral, but I honestly I don't even know. But I'm going to assume that it's neutral.
I'm going to assume he's going to attempt a different, let's see, words. A different way of expressing neutral chaotic,
Mm-hmm.
is my guess.
Yeah.
Which is fine,
Mm-hmm.
which does mean that within our party, uh, as far as specifically good characters go, I'm not sure how many there are.
Um, I think
My
Theo's a good
assumption,
character.
my assumption is two.
Yeah, I think Theo's a good character, and I think that um I think Starlet is good, but I also think that he could be neutral if like he was easily tricked into doing something to help somebody else, to help a friend.
Well, if he's not doing things for the sake of, like, good, and his only guidance is whatever Theo deems is appropriate to do,
Right.
I could see an
No.
argument for a lawful neutral for the sheer fact that his
Mm-hmm.
laws are what his brother says, and the neutral because he won't have the morality to determine good from bad.
Right. We were just discussing how many of our party members are good versus neutral in the current game.
Define good and define neutral.
Good. Wanting to help others for the simple sake of wanting to help others, regardless of if a reward is present. Neutral. Not necessarily being good, but not on the full selfishness of evil.
I see. That's
As the
interesting.
most basic of separations. There's
Right.
so many more little intricate things where you could say this situation with this specific variable makes that evil versus makes that good or makes it whatever else.
Right.
But
Right.
as the basic basics,
Like, for example, if you had a character who was willing to manipulate an enemy to get their way, would you consider that good or evil or neutral?
depends on the why.
Yeah.
Intention is important because
Mm-hmm.
you can have an evil character who builds orphanages and feeds the sick and hungry, and them still be evil because of their intentions.
Like what? They built the orphanage to get praise from their BBEG or
You build the
Um,
orphanage to make meat to feed the hungry, obviously.
damn.
Oh, you want me
So
to play an evil
basically,
character? Oh, I'm there, honey.
I mean, so basically going Sweeney Todd.
yeah. But then again, Sweeney Todd, well, I mean, he murdered a lot, not just people who were problematic. Although that
Yeah.
judge definitely needed to go.
Oh, the judge definitely. The original barber that he went up against? No.
No.
I
I
get
mean,
why he did it,
yeah.
but
But essentially, Yeah, if you're doing some at a absolute basic, if you're doing something solely for selfish reasons, you're going closer to the line of evil, although I suppose you could be balancing that evil neutral line,
Right.
where if you're doing something regardless of if you get a reward or not, and it's just to help out, to make
Mm-hmm.
others feel good, or whatever, that is more on the good. Um, Essentially, that's kind of what I'm
The
considering.
implication there being that if you're only doing something good to get a reward, is that still good or is that neutral?
I feel like that would be closer to neutral, but not necessarily evil, because you're not like going to be doing evil things, but it is a bit more selfish than just doing things for the sake of good. Um, that being said, good, evil, chaotic, lawful, very nuanced, very depending on who you talk to, different definitions, and one scenario, depending on where you're looking at it from, can be all over the map. So,
So, by that logic, how would you describe, say, Sakro? Because I'm going for chaotic neutral.
Am I throwing? I guess I should
Gosh,
throw.
you're real quiet all of
Sorry,
a sudden.
I just finished another 4 pound bowl.
Ah,
I was a little distracted over what I was doing next. For Sacro, the only um chaotic thing that I've seen him do is draw from the deck of many and then continuing to draw from the deck of many.
my deck or my mic died. I
Oh.
don't know where I stopped talking.
We didn't
oh,
hear anything about what you thought Sacro was.
Yeah, okay.
because I mean, like I said, I was going for chaotic neutral. I would argue the stunt he accidentally pulled in Jacob's office would have been chaotic.
Chaotic, yes, but that was also unintentional.
Yeah.
I mean, isn't chaos typically unintentional?
No. I take a bag of fireworks and I put them in a gymnasium where there is 100,000 people and then I let it off and run.
Huh.
It doesn't have to be quite that. But accidents are not. Accidents can cause chaos, but it does not make a person chaotic to have caused it unintentionally.
Fair.
Ah.
Like, I'm walking down the street in winter and slip on some ice. I accidentally knock someone over who knocks somebody over, and there's a domino effect. Does
Right.
chaos ensue? Yes, people are dropping things, people are getting injured, whatever else. I'm not chaotic for having been the first domino.
Okay.
You know,
Now, on the other hand, say if you had thrown a snowball to trip someone up, causing that domino, yeah, that would be chaos?
yes.
Okay.
And whether or not you stand there and laugh or go to help the poor old lady who fell and dropped her cane, that changes you between the more evil aligned and more good.
That's fair.
But yes, as far as Sakura, I don't think we got to know him well enough.
Mm.
If you told me he was evil, I wouldn't quite see it, but again, didn't know him well enough.
No,
I could,
I
yeah,
was going for chaotic neutral.
yeah. Yeah, if you were to say that he's like lawful, I would have questioned it just because he seemed a little bit more, whatever
I was
about
gonna
certain
say
things.
absolutely not.
But I could see anywhere between the corner of neutral good, chaotic good, neutral chaos easily enough.
I can see that.
Now, I know we haven't been going on for too long, or a lot has happened since it's been like, what, 3 days in game? Over 4 months? Um, but how do you see Kira? Where on the alignment spectrum?
um, from whose perspective?
Yours.
No, like me as a player or me as one of my characters.
Well, your new character does not know anything about Kira.
Right. And
Other,
Sakura barely knows you.
mm-hmm.
I'd say
So,
offhand, no,
yeah.
I was going to say the only thing he knows about you is not to go near, well. And then I realized, no, that was Deku. I was about to make the mention of when we where he stripped in the Feywild, and then I remembered, nope, that was Deku.
Different character. Yep.
Yep.
Uh,
Um, I personally need to see more of Kira before I can make that call.
that's fair.
I would not qualify her currently as chaotic, not by comparison.
Good, because she's not.
The
That being
question
said, it
in
doesn't mean she won't technically do things that could be considered chaotic depending on perspective, but the intention isn't chaos,
right
and the actions are within her realm of reasonable.
morality.
Um, well, sorry.
But you guys will eventually know her more. But I think
At
finding
let me
out
put
as
it
we
this
go
way:
work.
if I had to go strictly based on what I've seen of her, I would qualify her as true neutral.
All right, that works.
And the only reason I would qualify her as true neutral as opposed to lawful neutral was is because how she dealt with being in the drow area.
You mean the lies?
Right.
See, here's the thing with lawful. Lawful doesn't mean you always tell the truth, nor does it mean you always follow the laws of the land, depending on what your lawful is.
It
Um,
would
Lawful is you basically follow a strict adhesion to a set of rules. Now, those rules can be dictated by the king, dictated by the laws of a city, dictated by a code, like with paladins or like with druids, with their laws about specific things involving the land. So, just because I'm in somebody else's place and I'm lying to them about something doesn't necessarily mean lawful wouldn't work. It depends on whether or not lying is against my code.
okay, so lawful in that case would be a more personal moral code
It
than a legal
can
moral code.
it can be. It can be one, it can be the other, it can be both.
It depends on your character. Like a cleric would probably follow the laws of their religion.
Much more than
Ah,
the laws of the land. Like if their religion dictates you must sacrifice a goat at 3 p.m. on a Tuesday, uh, and you're in a place that says butchering animals is wrong, you're probably still going to try and find a goat. And at the very least, You might leave the city to do it, but you're going to do it. You know, stuff like that. That being
I
said, I would say that lawful good, in most cases, also refers to laws of the land for the purpose of, you know, not causing a fuss, breaking laws, having to deal with the legal system and such like that. That being said, if you're in a land whose leadership and government's morals are questionable, I could see someone even in the lawful good category going against those due to their moral code.
hmm
So it would be one of those situations where 9 times out of 10, yes, it refers to laws of the land as well, except for those instances in uh, cities that lack a moral leadership.
Okay. So, Allie,
Hmm.
n- knowing what we know about Duvanian, what would you suggest she is?
Lawful neutral.
Okay, that makes sense.
I don't know enough.
She's Demir,
Well, yes.
so
It's
lawful
probably a
neutral.
code she follows because it's the code of the Demir, and they like their orderliness.
Yeah.
Um, I would say anything within the neutral or the lawful columns could work.
Mhm. Yeah.
On the other hand, given the route that we are going to be taking her, if everything goes according to plan,
Well, I
she
know
may
nothing about what your plans are,
no.
but
I
and
am
whether you
very.
choose to share or
I
not
would
is
be
up to you. But
I would be very curious to see what you would think, but it's one of those where it's like part of me wants to have this be a surprise.
well, if it's a surprise, it's a surprise. Kira has some surprises for you guys.
Well, plus on the same token, Allie made the comment she finds it funny that I'm a Demir who's not good at keeping secrets. So I figured, okay, I can revise that.
I mean, surely the Demir could use somebody who is not tight-lipped for the purposes of leading others astray by specifically telling them the wrong information to begin with.
Hmm. Yep.
So in other words, they would be giving me misinformation?
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Fascinating.
Therefore, you would not be lying, and you would be spreading the knowledge because you don't know that it's false, and then that could lead others into taking actions based on that information, only for the Demir to be able to, you know, take advantage of it.
Finagle situations.
You know, so
Yeah.
of course that would only work if you did not know that you were being lied to.
Right.
True. Which I would have to double check those stats because I don't recall offhand how naive she is.
I have played a Demir before in another campaign who was a Warforge, and how she managed to keep secrets and such was
Mm-hmm.
simple. She was essentially a sleeper agent. So she'd gather information, and then randomly, well, at a library or somewhere else, a handler would show up and flip her switch, gather the information, and then set her back on her way. She never knew that she was giving information So she could never be used for interrogation or anything else against the
Wait,
Demir, as she herself did not know she was a Demir agent.
Love
so
it.
basically he just mind wiped her?
Um, no, not basically. It was a well, she was a robot, right? So
Yeah.
basically, it's like someone went in behind, you know, printed out
Swapped
the
out hard
history.
drives.
Yeah, swapped out higher drives or printed out the history, and then left without her realizing that they did that. So she was, as far as
So
she was aware, she was an Is It, but she was secretly Demir, unbeknownst to even herself.
nice.
She was fun. Her name was Dizzy. She was a wizard. Uh, we were using the UA, so Unearthed Arcana, Psionics Wizard when that first came out. I was attempting it, and
So this was
this little
recent.
robot also did not have a voice box, so they used telepathy.
Mhm.
Problem with that. I was used to playing rogues, treated her like a rogue, snuck off somewhere, was being attacked and killed. I didn't have a voice box to scream for help, and no one was in sight for me to use telepathy.
Oh boy.
She died,
Oh,
and then her parts were repurposed into someone else's character's armor.
Nice.
Um, so that was interesting. Most of the time when playing Ravnican based things, I have done Rakdos,
hmm
uh, once Orzov, once Azorius, and then my little is it? So
Mm.
yeah, I enjoy Ravnica. Um, I don't fully need it to be its own continent, although I would, or not continent, world. I would like to play that again though at some point. Um, but I like that Theo has taken and run with um, the Simic. And we were talking earlier today, and he's like, "So what if at some point, this is how we got into the whole I want to get you guys back to Ravnica at some point thing. Um, the Selesnya approached Theo about mushrooms. And I'm like, we can do that.
it would make sense.
Yeah. Ooh, okay, let's slow down. Slow down. When I'm talking and thinking, I forget to slow my wheel down after centering.
Hmm. So why did you choose yarn bowls?
I made a yarn bowl for a friend, and she adores it.
I will catch y'all later.
Have
I got
fun.
choir practice.
Cool. Have fun. And we were talking about I'm looking for shows to sign up for. And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, you should sign up for a fiber fair. And I'm like, what is a fiber fair? And she's like, it's a show that is just for people that use fiber to do artwork with, whether they make clothing, whether they cross stitch, whether blah, 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 blah. That's all they do. Um, but the shows that I attend, you have to pay $20 to get into. You have to arrive within a 2-hour period. Um, there's tens of thousands of people that go to these things. People fly in from all over the world. You should do this show. And I'm like, okay, where is it? So we were talking, and it's like, I don't know, 2 or 3 hours from me. I have cousins that live like 20 minutes from the show that I could stay with. And I'm like, okay, I'll try to get in. I'll see what happens. So I contact them, and they're like, ha, 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 ha. Yeah, we have a 2-year waiting list to get into one of our shows. Oh, okay. So I looked into a couple of other ones, and there's a ton of them, things I never knew. So there's one near me that I signed up for that I'm doing in September. So to fill a booth, because I can only bring things that are related to the fiber industry. I'm making yarn bowls, hook holders, notion holders, which are just tiny little bowls that have magnets in the bottom to hold all the little metal things. Um, I don't know, a couple other things I'm going to make. So I'm going to start with yarn bowls. So this month is going to be 100 yarn bowls in 30 days. Next month is going to be 200 random things in 30 days, and I'm going to have a list of those random items to kind of fill the booth with. But a lot of those pieces are much smaller. So instead of throwing 4 or 6 pounds, I'll be throwing a quarter of a pound to 2 pounds.
I see.
So that's how I got into it. But I have no flat space because everything is big. And we have a very small studio for a production studio. So I just keep having to finagle room. But yeah, so that's why I'm doing it. That's why I'm doing a yarn bowls.
I see.
And I've already made myself a yarn bowl because one of my bowls in the final firing cracked. So I've already made myself a yarn bowl.
Do you do things with yarn at all?
So what I'm doing currently is I am crocheting a piece, dipping it in liquid clay slip, putting it in the kiln, and the cotton burns away. And what's left is a crocheted piece of ceramic.
That's very interesting.
So that is what I'm currently crocheting. I'm not very great at crocheting. If I do it, I'm typically making like the little animals for little kids to play with until they die, and then they can throw them out because I don't care. Um, and I typically do that when I'm like playing in a like a D&D game or something.
I've, over the last month, currently been in the process of making a baby blanket for my niece that is coming in September.
Nice.
It's almost done. The
Cool.
problem is every round takes so much longer once you get it to a bigger size.
Yes. Yes, yes, it does.
When you're having to put in like 400 stitches into every side of the blanket, it takes a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's when I get like, if I can't finish a thing in like a week, I can't do it.
Mm.
Like I get
Um,
bored with it, it gets set to the side, and I'm done with that now. Moving on to next hobby.
I do plan on also making my sister a couple animals because her the nursery is going to be animal themed.
Nice. Hmm.
So I think I'm gonna at the very least make her an octopus.
Cool. I love it.
That and I have leftover yarn that I had bought because I wanted the blanket to be multicolored.
Hmm.
So I bought 3 different skeins of yarn.
Uh-huh.
Uh, but that also means that you know I didn't use it all up because I'm pulling from 3 things instead of just like doing it all in one.
Hmm. Cool. Yeah, I attempted a blanket and then my business took off and I threw out the blanket at I think I threw it out during the move. I think I had it like in a box forever and a year. And I'm like, all right, it's time. You're never gonna get finished. I'm never gonna do you. It's time to move on.
Hmm. I used to make more back when I was in college.
Hmm.
Uh, the first couple times because I didn't want to leave the campus between classes, so I would bring yarn to school and just do stuff between class.
Cool. That's
I've made
awesome.
a couple dolls and a couple bags. And yeah.
My friend used to make dead horses and
Dead
mallets to beat them
horses.
with. So,
Okay.
so whenever people would come to her desk and bring up something again, she would just start beating the dead horse on her desk.
What was her day job?
Um, Graphics design slash IT, website
Oh,
design.
I see.
Yeah, whenever her coworkers would come in and they would just like start bitching about something part 100, she would just start beating a dead horse.
Interesting. Did she ever give the mallet to her coworkers and tell her to hit it?
um, Maybe, I don't know. But yeah, so I'm trying to my current project is trying to make tea light holders with the crochet. And what I didn't know about cotton is that cotton stretches when you get it wet. So when I first started this, my friend's like, "Okay, well you are like taking into account stretch, right?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "Ceramic shrinks when you put it in the kiln by about 10%." And she's like, "Yeah, that's nice, but your cotton's going to stretch about 20%." And I'm like, "Oh, did not know that. Got it, got it. Okay." So the first piece I made ended up being a lot bigger than I anticipated it being.
Mm,
So
I
now I'm
see.
working on votive holders and um, I am having issues with it. So I want to go over her house and just be like, "Hi, help me."
Mm,
But I'm thinking that that would go well or it would fit in at a fiber fair. I don't know how well they'll sell, but it will fit in at a fiber fair. So
Mm.
we're gonna see. Have you ever been to a fiber fair?
I have not.
Well, when I eventually get into the New York one, I'll tell you when it is. And you can
It's like a
drive really,
passport.
really far.
I recently accidentally let a passport expire.
Mm,
So unfortunately,
yeah.
yeah.
My my mom came downstairs yesterday while I was throwing and she's just like, "Hey, Dad's booking a cruise. We need you to come help." And I'm like, what?" Like they can't vacation by themselves. Like they can't travel by themselves anymore.
Mm.
So I'm like, "We already have a cruise booked for next year. What are you doing?" And she's like, "Oh no, this is much sooner." I'm like, "Okay." She said, "Well, you have to come up and book." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." I'm like, "Well, I have to talk to Gary first." And she's like, "Okay, well, it's really soon, so like they're gonna run out of rooms, so we have to book now." And I'm like, "Oh, okay." He's live right now, so in 4 hours, I will ask him if I can book a cruise. And she's like, "Okay." She's like, "Yeah, because we can't go without you." I'm like, "Oh, okay, that's glad you recognize that." Um, so June 15th, we are leaving for Bermuda.
Just stay away from triangles.
But I could get lost and it could be fun.
Hmm.
Okay, I still forgot to slow down my wheel.
Does
And
it
yes,
create
I'm
issues when you forget to slow down?
yeah. So if you don't slow down your wheel as you start pulling up your clay and making it wider, centrifugal force will take over and your nice pretty tall cylinder will then be a flat plate.
Ah,
Centrifugal force is a thing. Sometimes it works in your favor. Most of the time it doesn't.
I see.
Yeah, so I had to contact my cousins in Bermuda and I'm just like, "Hey, so last minute, but" so some of them won't even be in the country when we're down there, but okay.
Hmm. You got a message in your chat saying if you visit Atlantis while there, take pictures.
Who is chatting?
Blue Ranger,
Oh, okay.
who totally has access to the voice chat if he wants to come over.
Yeah. I'm going to squeegee this off and then I'm going to tell him that. Okay. Another 4 pound bowl done. I've been very, very lax in actually making notes of what I've completed. So tonight or tomorrow morning, I need to go around and count, update my list. Um, oh yeah, I don't actually have to type back to. Oh nope. Okay, not joining us in chat. Got it. Got it. Okay. Um, yeah, we just got a notification from our ornament people that they're like, hey, if you want to be tariff free, order ornaments before June 1st. And you can get them without the tariffs. And I'm like, cool. So Gary and Mike, the guy who runs Pathfinder in the server, are going out to Cleveland tomorrow morning to go pick up our first round of ornaments. First of 3. Any of our pre-orders we'll get them when they come in, but everything that they have in stock they'll pick up. They're picking up 13 boxes. Each one weighs somewhere between 80 and 100 pounds. First of 3.
Yes. Oh, the tariffs. Oh, yeah, totally. We'll put these tariffs on other countries and they'll have to pay more to send stuff to us. Okay, you realize that they're just going to make the customers pay more, right? Like, you're just making the
Yep.
average American citizen pay more.
Yeah, I had to explain to Gary how tariffs work the other day.
It's not like it's something that's very clear unless you look into it a bit.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, tariff is a tax.
Yeah, end of the day, the prices are still going up.
Yep.
So, yep. So they are heading out to Cleveland for me to go and pick up ornaments tomorrow.
Mm.
It's about 6.5 hours from here. But I didn't really want to pay $1,000 for shipping. So the 2 of them are going to go out. I figure even if it costs $400 for hotel room and gas and dinner and whatever other food they're having, it'll still be cheaper than the $1,000 shipping charge.
Hmm. Fair.
Yeah, it's probably more than that too, but I don't know. I pretty much gauged it as if it was $1,000, I'm just gonna send him out there. Be done with it.
You got another response that honestly, it's kind of sad how little people understand what tariffs are, let alone how they work.
Yep.
I'm assuming you don't have the screen with the chat directly in
I,
eyesight.
unfortunately, it is directly to the left of me. We were trying to figure out how to put a screen in front of me. But this room is so tiny that it doesn't work. Nothing works. We were kind of thinking about moving the wheel so that I'm facing the screen. But then to use the computer, I would need to have like another little desk or something for like the keyboard and the mouse.
And then your hands are covered in clay.
And my hands are covered in clay. Although I do have to say, I hate the feeling of microfiber, but you can't feel the ickiness of microfiber through the clay.
Mm.
So I bought it's like a paper towel roll, but it's all of microfiber cloths.
Mm-hmm.
So I can use them and then just kind of like throw them in a bucket and rinse them off of like most of the clay, throw them through the washing machine, and then I can just roll them back up again or put them in a bucket, whatever. And I am loving these cloths. Have I washed them yet to like give myself a fresh batch? No, no, I haven't. Do I need to do that? Yes, yes, I do. It may happen tomorrow because I have to get a bunch of painting done tomorrow, so may happen tomorrow. Yeah, so now my goal is to get all of these thrown and trimmed by June 14th. Really by June 13th, but it has to be done by June 14th. Because,
So that you can put them in the kiln and
yeah,
finish and have it done by the end of the 30 days.
yep, they really do need a good week of like drying time.
So they don't crack.
Yeah.
Got it.
So that's the goal. Slow down.
So, considering we started our campaign in the beginning of March, did you think just to the capital is how far we would get by this point?
Nope. I fully envisioned you guys having a fight with Drow by this point. At least one. At least one fight with Drow is what I expected.
I mean, I had no intention of actually fighting the Drow.
I mean, I don't have any intention of you guys fighting with Drow either. But
Just get information. But if we can get that information from the hag,
that also works.
it does. And it might be, you know, more accurate information if we sell somebody's liver.
Liver's good. She'll probably want more than that, but you know.
Well, I mean, if we find Chakra on our way of getting to the hag, Adam will have a character to sacrifice. So,
Love it.
very least, we can give her one full adult. No. No, we do not volunteer Kira. Besides, Kira isn't 100% flesh anymore, and therefore, she probably would not work well in a pie.
Maybe she only wants the fleshy bits. Okay, another 4-pounder done. Yeah, maybe the hag only wants the fleshy bits of Kira.
Oh, her sacrifice Kira's liver. I mean, she might have that readily available for that.
Kira just starts looking through her bags. I mean, I have this thigh, and I have this liver, and I have this right lung, and the left lobe of this brain.
Well, I mean, the brain's going to be the trickiest part. But
Last ball out of this bag. I bagged up, I think I told you, I bagged up 550 pounds of clay in the first, weighed out, bagged up in the first 2 days of this.
and it's a lot of clay.
It's a lot of clay. Well, I figure if I'm doing 100 and half of them are going to be 4 pound and half of them are going to be 6 pounds, and I need to leave room for error. So I did 55 of each. Um, so 550 pounds. And then them up and put them on the table.
Let's see.
But yeah, Um, I was surprised when, like, I don't know if Theo, I keep saying that I'm going to ask Matt, and I keep forgetting. I don't know if Theo understands that what Jacob is selling is illegal.
No, no, he doesn't.
Yeah, you don't think he does either, right?
No, I'm pretty sure he's shady.
But
For sure.
does the player understand that what he's doing is illegal?
Mm, doubt.
Yeah, I need to ask him, and I keep like,
I feel like Theo is too oblivious to the actual dangers of mushrooms and why people might want to use them.
uh-huh.
And I'm pretty sure the player is playing himself but obsessed with mushrooms. So
Yes. Yeah, like I need to get with him at some point and just be like, "Yo." Like I don't want player you to be shocked when you figure out that this is like illegal in game.
yeah.
All right, stop being Woodley. Also, slow your wheel down. Um, yeah, I don't want him to be, but if we were talking, does the player understand if we are hold on. Can you read the full message there, Kai?
That I can. If we're
Um, and obviously Sacro knows. But yeah, I want to get with Theo. Oh, yeah, I want to get with Theo and just be like, let's switch out to a point. Some that are more bulbous and round. I'm trying to do them all a little bit differently.
let me see.
So
One edge of it would be the same. One edge of it would be the same, like the one.
I am left-handed.
I see. That's fair.
I am left-handed.
I see. That's fair. But yeah, because with yarn bowls, like the thread catches in that like last hook, basically,
Yeah.
so that so the rest of its shape, as long as you can like move a string through it, shouldn't have any actual bearing on its functionality,
Mm-hmm.
as long as that lapse bit remains the same. On its functionality,
Mm-hmm.
as long as that lapse bit remains the same.
Right. Yeah, I'm gonna try. Right. Yeah, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try. Clover might be really complicated and annoying to shove your yarn through. Really complicated and annoying to shove your yarn through.
I would say if you can get a heart and it works out well.
Okay, another 4-pounder
Tad.
down. So I've seen a lot of them where they use the curly Q as the tail and then they do little like ears.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, another one down. I use a plastic bat system. You're a 6-pound.
to each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think that we should have left the majority of the specific Ravnica based guild stuff behind on Ravnica when coming to the support for the overpopulation between the overpopulation of Ravnica, the Five Kreen having their homeworld lost, and the Astral Elves having their homeworld lost, and the Astral Elves. Like, that's who I would thought mainly was going to be taking it over, right?
Mhm. Mhm. Brought it sort of back. Yeah. Be um picking that one back up in January. I'll probably be telling, unless they watch this video, I'll probably be telling everyone that in like August or September when we finish it off. I don't really want to run the runs that I have to like stress about.
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah. I have a Monday night one to start playing game. It's all want to know your backstory. And they're having a great time. They the people two of the people that are playing